Hey guys, how's it going? May 7th, 2021. And, okay. Guess I should have got comfortable before, but I was looking the wrong way because maybe I'm half asleep. I don't know. Anyways, enough of my little pictures in the background. I wanted to show you something real quick, and I know this is live, so I'm not going to show this for very long. But I'll show this anyways, because I don't have that many people watching live to begin with, and this isn't about broadcasting ATCS, so blah. This is the ATCS Monitor that I can watch as far as what's going on. I had somebody who was asking me, actually just subscribed to the channel, was asking me, when the trains come around and stuff like that. And I live right around this area here, let's say. So this is in St. Catharines at Glenridge. Once you get used to the locations, Paul Duncan's website's also very good in Niagara, for example. Actually, Paul was asking me as far as the times, because he just forwarded information to me, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's hit and miss, really. This time of night, 10 o'clock at night, you start seeing a little bit of action here. These are the in the day you'll see action in this area. Generally 421, 422 will run through here. It could be any time as early as 8 o'clock in the morning. They'll start leaving Port Robinson. Now, Clifton's not showing up right now. And to do this, you basically have to go into, if you go online. So if you go online and you do a Google search for ATCS Monitor, whoops, type this in here. Now you might hear my voice all of a sudden pop up and start saying stuff or whatever. So the ATCS Monitor has a group.io homepage, and once you're in here, this is a user group that you can join up. This will get you information as to basically how you get the software, etc., etc. Log in if you're already a member. Okay, and log in. So I don't know if that one is the best way to get in. Okay, that's just the posting, so let's forget about that one. That's a good one to get into, but just trying to think how the best way monitor software. How to set up ATCS monitor monitoring. This might be. This is a good one. So if you look at this, this gives you all the information as far as installing the ATCS Monitor program. Let's see here. If you're not a member, you will not have access to the files. The files are available here. So, well, that's Yahoo. So this might be a little bit out of place or whatever. Just give me a second here. I'm not exactly sure where you get it from. I think if you're in the ATCS Monitor group, this is an image of Fort Erie. where a CN train is actually heading over, and the NS train that does its transfer with them happens in the late afternoon into the evening. And of course, a drone footage here at Jordan Harbor of 422 heading across the Jordan Harbor Bridge. But anyways, enough about what I got. Enough of that on my page. So right now, I mean, if you're looking at what's happening right here, this train came out of Port Robinson. So this is probably the first trip coming back. He's the one that actually transferred it in us. He's coming back from the States. So he came into he's just heading out. He was in Fort Erie Yard. He picked up that NS transfer that NS had left. This guy here is the second trick. So there's two tricks. There's one that leaves Port Robinson around what time is it? Usually leaves Port Robinson around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's another one that leaves at about 10 o'clock at night, which of course he's already here. Sometimes he leaves early, give or take. Niagara, the only thing that happens down here is once you get out of the COVID restrictions, you have GO Transit and the Amtraks, and they're all on regular schedules. So you just basically pay attention to them. They run on schedule. Everything else that happens, I find another one that I personally like to go. I try to get out of Niagara just to see the action, because there's not that much action in Niagara. Is I will come down here to Brantford, which isn't too far away. It is the only one that has ATCS, because there's no ATCS between Bayview and Burlington anymore. So I will come down to Brantford at night. I have a mobile setup, take it with me. I can scan all these frequencies. The problem with that is you only get so much frequencies. You can also online. You can listen to radio out of Hamilton. There's another radio available out of Ingersoll. So if you go into, I forget what it is, it's not ATCS Monitor. If you go into Hamilton Railfan Radio, that'll get you there. I think they're down right now, but that'll get you there. This is the CP section coming into Hamilton. So, but there's much more servers than that. You could basically have access to all kinds of servers. Like for example, I can. All you have to do is download the files, and I can go basically into. These are the packets of information that are coming across. I can go into, say, like I've when I'm on trips out, by Huron Bay sub or the Ballast, or basically trips going out towards Thunder Bay. There will be feeds that I look at. CSX Willard's gone now. That's pretty much dead. Anything CSX is gone, but I used to have that as well. NS Buffalo, if I want to monitor NS in and around Buffalo. Haven't been in the States since with the COVID lockdowns, etc. So that's out of the question. Sarnia, London, if I'm up into if I'm rail fanning the Strathroy sub, which hasn't happened really. Cartier sub up by Sudbury is another one. So there's a lot, and then there's all kind. And those are just monitoring kits. The servers that are out there, there's a lot of different servers. Now, I don't have all the servers on here. They can be found in that IO group. So that would, yeah, I love these images. This is Mackyard. More fun stuff, but yeah. So this is for me. This is the way I would look at it. So this time of day, obviously, I'm not going to be headed out Seaway barely broadcasts. You don't, sometimes not, you won't get all. Clifton, you'll hardly ever pick up anything at all. Just it's just out of the way of all these particular servers that are hooked up. Like for example, in this area here, you can't get Kamoka. Blaine never shows up. Lihu difficult. So you got your Ingersoll area, your Woodstocks, various locations. You don't know whether it's a passenger train or a freight. You can kind of tell by how fast they go through whether or not they're passengers or freight. Now this guy's waiting for his meet. I will show this. I'm going to show this, and then I'm going to stop showing the ATCS. This is for demonstration purposes only. This isn't meant to say, okay, well, here's everything. Go out and see the trains. I'm not broadcasting an ATCS server, so I know. You gotta watch out. You don't want to go. You can bend the rules a tiny bit, I would say, but I don't mind bending certain rules. That's pretty much how you would do this. And as far as within ATCS, if you are say, I'm here in St. Catharines and I'm watching what's going on down here. I'll know by looking at Port Robinson and Port Robinson East. A switching feature would be lit up where this one's going green, that one goes green, which means basically a switching feature means that they can go through the lights and come back and forth and do their switching. Port Robinson also gets a switching feature set up. Once that's starting, I know usually something's in the yard, not always. Sometimes the switching features are left on in some cases, and they're never turned off and the engines are just parked. But generally speaking, there's two ways I know how Port Robinson acts. When they generally 4:22 in the morning, I find he just pulls past this switch at Port Robinson West. So he occupies this block. He's not headed towards, this is Niagara Falls. He's not headed towards Niagara Falls, but he is just beyond the signal. This is where the crew cab can go and basically bring the conductor down, who's built the train up in here from Port Robinson, be able to drive him up to the engine, and not the one who necessarily built the train, but the one who's coming on duty. They get a cab ride from the yard, and they're able to start their train. Usually the train can be as big as 10,000 feet. So this train has to take up a lot of space. Its back end is sometimes right sitting at Canby Street in Port Robinson. As far as places to watch trains in Niagara, I would say one of the best places is anywhere along here. This is going to give you your best shot. There's no CP at the moment, I can tell, because this guy I saw earlier, he came off of Port Robinson. I know this is the guy that's heading over to the States, the second trick, and this is the one heading back into Port Robinson. I forget the train numbers. That doesn't matter to me. Train numbers change all the time. I know what they are. I call them the first and second trick. This is the second trick. This is the first trick coming back. They go to various locations over in Buffalo, so they go to different locations. I think one goes to Frontier, the other goes to I don't know what it is. To be honest, I can't remember, but it's not important. So you can see this guy, over Brantford. You can see this guy going to the yard there, or working the yard there, I guess. So that's pretty much all this. I wanted to show you this, how this kind of works, but anyways, I'll go back to that in a minute. But yeah, that's about it as far as. So if I'm in St. Catharines, let's say, and I have audio notifications that I have recorded is basically set as rules that will tell me you have to create those rules. It'll tell me basically if I'm doing something. I don't have to look at the screen, and it'll all of a sudden say, clear signal Port Robinson West. That gives me enough notification in the morning if I'm up early enough to basically at that point get my stuff ready and head out to St. Catharines if that's where I want to go. Another one I have is Nels Road. So these are the two areas. Once there's a light lit up from Nels Road going that way, I know 421 is coming. And now the problem is he parks past this light now, so it's hard to tell when he's going to be coming this way. But once there's activity that changes at Port Robinson West, another notification will come out. It won't give you a clear signal, but they basically start moving around enough so it activates that notification again. And once I get, Glen Ridge is another one I think I have a notification set up. But anyways, that's enough to get my attention and realize, okay, something's coming, I want to head out. I also have a notification set up at Fort Erie so that when something's lit up at Fort Erie, say a CP train that's coming across, that gives me a lot of notice to get down to Welland if I want to catch him. This is a far as you have to go if you want to see all the action, with the exception of NS. So you come down to Brookfield. This is just outside of Welland, and you get to see. You can sit right here at the Y. There's an old road there. You could sit along the side of the road. They don't seem to mind too much. They may come around and ask if you're okay. That happened one time, and I was just getting ready to prepare the drone. I just told, oh no, I'm just watching the trains, and you can do that. So it's good, a good little location. Again, it's not that busy in Niagara. That's one of the things, but for me, it's kind of fun going to Niagara. Another place, if you're looking for action, if you're in Niagara, is outside of Port Robinson, just outside of Port Robinson on Thorold Town Line Road. If you look up the plant, it's called Oxy Vinyls. That's an interesting place because at times the switcher will be running there. He can run any time of the day. And it's a pretty active industry. And he will, you can park just outside of the gates at Thorold Town Line Road, which is basically between the city of Thorold, city of Niagara Falls. You could actually park just outside those gates there, and you might be able to see the switcher performing. You might even be able to see the little yellow road railer, not the road railer, whatever they call those damn things. I'm half asleep here. But they're basically switching the industry there, so that's kind of fun. But that's really, in a nutshell, Niagara. There's not too much more industry besides that. There's some industry up this way. Or never mind, forget I said that. There's industry up by Netherby never comes in. That's just an old dead diamond signal. But right around Netherby, or Netherby Road, just west of there, there's something called Southern Yard, and
Fort Erie.
There's a notification of Fort Erie. So anytime I get a signal there, so they're setting him up to come in to Duff. He'll get a signal here at Duff in a minute. He'll go in the yard and then he'll come out, as far as I know, unless there's somebody else there. That's another possibility. I imagine he's coming in and out. Actually, he's probably getting that light for headroom to also make his drop. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just used to the area as far as what happens. There's nothing else that's happening there. So he's going across the switch. You'll see this in a second. I just wanted to show you that, just as for demonstration purposes. Nothing else happening, but But anyways, yeah, that's about it as far as the ATCS side of things. I do want to show that meet. I think it's kind of neat, and then I'll shut it down because I'm not going out tonight. So not for me tonight. And here, we'll let that run for a minute. Actually, I'll zoom into Port Robin, or sorry, Robbins East here. Whoops, there we go. So you'll see what happens here. Again, just for demonstration purposes. I have like, what, 2 people on right now, so I'm sure they're not watching their stream from their phone in their car or whatever. So you'll see this signal in a second. He's already got the switch lined up. Actually, I believe he came out of that way, so he's probably going to go back in. But watch carefully. Here it comes right now. As soon as he clears the control point here, and what this does is this monitors everything. It's not 100% accurate. You'll see what happens there. You got a little blue box. This means the switch is out of alignment. It means the switch is going to be thrown. And he'll get a green light right now. Not right now. Any second. Switch is now locked. It's red. Boom. It goes green. And then he'll get a light at duff, or he should get a light at duff. Oh, there is something else in there. Well, I guess I was wrong. I don't know who this guy is then. They run a third trick tonight? Sometimes they mix things up. So I don't know who this guy is. Actually, sorry. If I was to guess, I would say that's NS headed back. Which is a little late for him, but that's my guess. Don't know for sure. Sometimes they used to come in around 4 o'clock, but there's times too where they can show up a little bit later because sometimes CN's late or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. He may go down the main, he may go right into the yard, but that's how I can pretty much keep an idea. And if I'm here in the evenings and I want to know what's going on, or even in the morning to see what kind of action's happening down here, if I want to head out, because for me it's not just going to be about St. Catharines. I mean, it's kind of boring. I know that, you know, if I just watch those 2 trains, that's fine, but it's kind of fun watching the CP trains as well. So I'll tend to want to get into that area, head out to Welland, and then I would also monitor. The other one I would monitor is out in this way, the Halton sub. So we know westbound's coming into the picture. This guy's going off to GXR, but other than that, CP, if I know a train's coming down, you'll get the light here at Campbellville, head towards Hamilton, so that's kind of gives you plenty of warning as far as that. I don't monitor CP as much. For me, it's not a major thing for me to go out and to see it, but you can see this train's taking off now. He's taking off doing his thing, but anyways, I wanted to show that. So now you're not supposed to be live streaming, but you know, I got 2 concurrent viewers, so don't tell anybody. Keep it a secret. Anyways, I'm just gonna grab a drink and I'll talk about RTS a little bit more, and on that tonight I just figured I'd shoot the breeze tonight. Be right back. So anyways, now I don't know how much I've talked about this. I'm not making a big announcement out of this stuff. And I'm not even going to say what I'm going to get into. I was actually going to get into it tonight, and I was actually pretty tired, so my son was playing Trader Life Simulator, and it was his term, so I don't know how he can stay awake watching me play half the time, but I guess he's into it enough, so that's pretty good. But me, if I watch somebody play a video game, and if I'm tired, it's just like watching YouTube and just puts me to sleep. Forget it. So, but that's what happened with me. So, yeah, it was just like, okay, it just knocked me the hell out, because I was thinking to myself, I said to him, I says, I might start working on that project tonight, Emmett. And he's upstairs now. He goes up at 9:00 on Fridays now. We kind of adjusted our pattern a little bit on weekends, because I get to see him till 9:00 on Sundays. There's a nice shot at Fort Erie there of the GT Heritage unit leading I think it was the first trick, whatever he was that day. I get the numbers confused, but so he basically dropped off his cars for NS and Fort Erie and heading over to Buffalo. But yeah, so as far as RTS goes, what had happened for me, I haven't given up on it, but it's always, for me, it always becomes a question for me of how much time do I want to spend on something, or how much energy do I want to put on something versus the results I get for it. And I kind of knew the answer to this before, but for some reason, what had happened that changed my mind from the last time I kind of said, okay, I'm not going to do this right now. This was before I got into Unity. This latest one is I got into Unity. I'm happy with Unity. I think I want to continue doing things in Unity. I also want to continue to focus on traits. So I can tell you this much: I'm going to be very particular, and I've changed the focus as to what I want to do, and I think people will be pleased with it. So, two things that were going to affect me. At least, not so much the first one. I didn't really need assets so much. And this is, a lot of these views from above were for that purpose. This was for the RTS purpose. And the thing was, I like to go through and play through in my mind what it would be like, or basically to visionize what the game is going to be like. So what I end up doing is I think about how, what I want in the simulation, how I want it to behave, how I want, basically once it's at its peak, not as necessarily its peak, but once it's at what I consider to be fully developed. And I don't expect it right away. But I thought about the way I had built it as a 3D simulator on top of a 2D map. Right away, I'm limiting myself. I'm not getting these kind of beautiful shots. Number one, that takes a lot of assets, and the reason why I went for this method to begin with was I knew I was going to have a difficult time doing all those assets. It's really why I got out of trades. My son is still into trades. I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, he's okay with standard. So what he does is he develops a lot of routes for trains that, he researches an area and is okay to build it. He's not too worried about it being perfect, which is good. That's a good thing. Not worrying about it being perfect is actually a good thing. Just have fun. So the reason why I was at Mackyard here was because number one, this is fun, just putting the drone up and taking a view like this, whether or not people say, well, you're not supposed to do this and all the other blah blah blah, whatever. It's there. And would I do it again? Maybe not. Would I go to 120 meters and not show it to anybody? Possibly. But it's the thing is, having it based out of Niagara, and I was just talking about, how there's not as many trains down in Niagara. Reason why I would do Niagara is because I'm most familiar with it. So I wanted to start with that base in Niagara, and I wanted to expand to move out further and eventually get myself down there, and eventually get myself into these areas. But just focusing on Niagara, I started thinking about, okay, well, here I am, 421, and let's just say I have, I'm at the starting phases of where the program is finally, something I'm proud to share. And 421 sitting there, and he's getting the AI dispatcher clearance. He's got the AI conductor calling signals. He's got an AI yardmaster in Port Robinson that's setting up everything based on the orders. So everything's running great, except I'm watching a not too detailed 3D train running across a 2D environment. And then I thought about, well, okay, I used to enjoy Freight Yard Manager. And I kind of went through this whole trap before. The difference between before and now was the last time there was going to be a lot of difficulty trying to figure out how I wanted to render this, because I thought of it as being a giant movable map. And in this case, a giant 2D map. In this case, I decided to make something in a 3D game engine. And I liked the effects at first. I enjoyed the darkness, the day and night cycle. I enjoyed some of the things that were coming into it. And I thought to myself, man, if I can just only do some more 3D stuff, I would have loved to tackle the 3D side. So that's what I was thinking. Let me just say this, and I'll tell you what's going on. Number one, I said that was the one issue I was going to have. The other one has always been assets. Like I said, Emmett does not, we both can't do Blender worth crap. I played with, I don't know, it's 3D Builder or something like that. 3D Builder's for, basically for, what do you call it? Printing, 3D printing. That's what 3D Builder's all about. It's not really designed to do, the kind of thing as far as visual importations into 3D game engines. In fact, you have to do a lot of playing around to get it to work to come into there. A lot of times you lose the color that you've applied. The scale's all, totally off, and the scale's important. So this is a shot here just outside the control point at Port Robinson, actually, and we hiked up. There's a way to hike to see that. So it's I know I'm getting back onto the whole Niagara thing, but let me just show it to you for a minute. I'll get to it because I got some time. So yeah, let me go back into Niagara for a second. I'll get to the good stuff in a minute. So Niagara, we're looking at Port Robinson. So the place is in Niagara. I should have done this first, but once I started seeing this, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should show this. Okay, so I explained before, as far as coming down, if you're coming out of the area and you're visiting Niagara, I have at least one person who's new to the channel that would be doing this. I was talking about coming to Grimsby. The only thing you're going to get in Grimsby, you'll get I think you'll get 3 different trains. I think you get 555, but he comes, I don't know what time he comes around. He comes out of Hamilton, so I'm not as familiar with that. I am familiar with 421, 422. So 421, 422, and the passengers and GO trains, once they're back in service, would be running down here. One thing that I didn't mention is Trillium Railway, which crosses here at Meriden. So you've got the Welland Canal Lock 3 Viewing Center. This is Glendale Avenue, which you can get access from the Queen Elizabeth Way. And this is Trillium or Port Colborne Harbour Railway. I forget what the name of the railway is called, GEO or something like that now. But anyways, there is some switching. If you get to follow him, you will see him. Where is he? Here's the industries that he serves over here. So you got boxcars there, boxcars in here. So if you get to Yale Crescent, you can see at least 4 boxcars being switched on a typical weekday. They don't usually come down here Saturday, Sunday. And there's also a tank car that will sometimes be sitting in here, Chimera Paper Chemicals Canada. I always thought they were water. I didn't know they were paper chemicals. Ooh, that's something. They got 2 tank cars in there at this time. But anyways, I don't see that very often. If I see anything, it's going to be 1 tank. Sometimes there's nothing in there, but it comes and goes. Or whatever. This is an okay area too if you want to hang around the locks. You can actually see the trains from the viewing center at Lock 3 in the distance. But if you listening to a scanner doesn't always necessarily give you any information in this area. You basically have to have the ATCS Monitor mobile, or you basically you want to hang out. There's signals here, signals in both ways. It's hard to see the signals in this way. Sometimes it's even difficult to see the signals. This is the control point of Glen Ridge, right over here. So that Glen Ridge that you saw on the ATCS Monitor, that's over here. And when you get into the Niagara Falls area, a good place to see 422, 421 is in and around this area here. You can just park right there. You can park right over here. See him go around very slowly, so that's kind of nice. You get plenty of opportunity to see a nice slow-moving train come around here. This is the remainder of the Grimsby sub heading into Niagara Falls. There is one industry here outside. Sometimes there'll be a 3rd train that comes down the local. Sometimes an extra train. They were having a hopper train coming out. Occasionally you'll see an auto rack train as well. But generally 421, 422 is the call of the day. And sometimes, like I said, the local for Port Robinson has a tank industry just here. Other than that, there's nothing else. Niagara Falls Yard is non-existent, no longer exists. This used to be, a mid-sized yard here. And Clifton, as you can see, Clifton, this is actually Clifton right here, the control point on your ATCS. This is Port Robinson West, Port Robinson East. I talked about oxyvinyls. So oxyvinyls is a very good place. I have some images that sometimes pop up here. This is Southern Yard. Actually, that was Southern Yard. This is another neat place if you can see a train. I caught the intermodal train here earlier this winter, and this was in the evening. A northbound on Highway 20. Just outside of Fenwick, just west of Fenwick, actually. So I was able to catch him coming out of Welland. So that was a fun one. But and nice little places that you can catch trains. But then again, sitting in one spot, it depends upon how long you want to sit and how long you're willing to sit. A good place sometimes in the morning, if you catch 421 coming early enough and you get him, once you've got him and you can get him, the thing is 421, you can get him at Bayview Junction. Now he comes fairly early down there. Bayview Junction is probably the best location near Niagara. This is where you're going to see the most. You're going to see your Dundas sub traffic. You're going to see 421, 422 Niagara, all the passenger trains, a little bit of the GO traffic as well. Used to be a good place to go was Burlington. So Burlington West, this is the connection to the Halton sub. This is an old Y here. Well, it is a Y, but it just leads to an Industries. But that used to be part of the main sub that used to come into Toronto this way. I think it used to be a diamond at one time, but that used to cross at the Skyway. So that was kind of cool. But if you're gonna go far enough into Niagara. And again, it's a crapshoot. You could be sitting in the middle of nowhere for hours waiting for a train. And it's just that way. CP is totally unpredictable, I find. They're somewhat predictable, but at times they are and they aren't. I don't know. I find, during the early evening, they sometimes get a rush, and sometimes sometimes in the afternoon they get the rush as well. If you have a scanner and you're listening, the good thing about CP is you'll hear a clearance coming to Brookfield East. Brookfield East is right here. So if you get to Forks Road East, to get there, the best way I find is to take not Miller Road. If you go through the Town Line Tunnel, which you can access this off of 140 coming off of the 140 joins up to the 406. That's another way to get down here. To get to Port Robinson, some of the best ways to get there is going through Highway 58, and then you just keep on going this way down Allenport Road, get to all the way to the end of Canby Street, go into Port Robinson. But going back to this area here, to get down here, you're basically on the 140. Southern Yard is right here. You saw that one image. Sometimes you'll see CN and CP does an interchange here, so occasionally you'll see that. If you're really lucky, and this usually happens at night, I find, at around this time of night sometimes, you would get to see the switcher come down to Niagara Falls. I don't know which nights they run. The other switcher that runs is to Port Maitland. And he runs all the way down to here and back, so that runs from Welland and back. Or Welland to Port Maitland and back, I should say. So that's another one that you could keep an eye out for. But the best location, I would say, if I was, didn't want it. Number one, at this point, I would almost go to Fort Erie. Fort Erie, you can sit here, as long as you're not too close to the bridge itself. There's this Robertson Street, and if you the guys down there are really cool about this. If you sit back here with, and the car's back in here, and you're not too close to the tracks, they don't worry about it. I have sat here, and eventually I may get approached by RCMP. Don't be intimidated by it. It'll be fine. In fact, the RCMP was down there, and he gave me a card, and all they're looking for is people jumping the bridge. That's all they're concerned about. They're not worried about anything else. People cross this line all day. The local residents walk across this all the time. So that's all they're worried about. He was a nice guy. He watched me fly the drone in this area. He's from the RCMP. And he was cool because, I'm not playing around and, flying over here too much. Have I done it? I'll plead the fifth on that. But it's, I mean, you try not to cause trouble, and you try to be safe. So, that's to say, have I ever walked on a railway track? Well, yeah, I have. And I'm not saying that I would do that on a regular basis. Have I ever walked on equipment? Yeah, I had when I was younger. I wouldn't do that now. I mean, by walking on equipment, I've seen people climb signal towers, for crying out loud. No, I wouldn't be doing something stupid like that. Walking a line for curiosity, yeah, I've done it. And that's just to know where things are. But, whether or not I am doing it, whether or not I know I am technically trespassing, which of course I am. But would I be climbing all over cars or doing stupid? I've seen people jump trains, for crying out loud. Or I've at least seen images on YouTube. I mean, it looks fascinating, but would I do it? No. I'm not that crazy. I've always fantasized about doing it, but no, I wouldn't do that. So, but yeah, you can sit down here. In fact, if you have a picnic, the other thing you can do, and like I say, you get here around, if you go to Fort Erie, you get into this parking lot, have yourself, either late lunch or supper. There's good places to eat on Garrison Road. This is a nice place to sit here and see what's going on. Now, you won't see the switching that's going on. To see that, there's a couple ways. Number one, what I usually do is I come in off of here, go down to Warren Street, cross this line here. I believe I'm technically on CN property, or at least what used to be CN property, and they don't mind you down here. I've never had problems. As long as you're not as long as you're not seen walking the tracks or doing stupid stuff like that, I just sit and behave myself. The other place you can go to is right up here, and this comes right off the highway. It's under construction, the exit right now, Bowen Road, that comes off the QEW, and that comes down here, and you can basically climb right up here. I usually sit on this road, so I sit as far back, Occasionally I'll ride down the yard. I'll ride along the side here. It's just like a service road. But, is it railroad property? Absolutely. As long as, like I said, as long as you're not up to mischief, or anything like that, they don't bother you. I'm not suggesting you do that, but I'm just saying, if they know you and they know who you are and they're familiar with you, I find the railroad, they're pretty good about it. Would I drive through Fort Robinson? No, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't press my luck. But there has been times in the past where I used to drive through Port Robinson or ride my bike through Port Robinson. But no, I don't do that anymore. Those days are gone. But here, this isn't a manned yard per se. Southern Yard's another one I'll drive through once in a while, or at least park on the end, as long as as long as I'm not bugging anybody, and up to mischief or anything like that, which I do not do. People don't bug you. So, anyways, I can get to. I wanted to mention all that. Like I said, you come down here if you want to watch them switch. That's a cool place. But you can also come back and forth from having a picnic or whatever, and you can just park down here, and I'd say park far enough away. You'll see him come in. He'll run here for room back up, just like that one image that I had. This is Gion at night, by the way. Not Gion. Oxyvinyls at night. I flew over with the drone the one night, so it's fun. This is a picture of Thorlestone Road, Niagara Falls, the old Ohio Brass Building. Actually, I used to work in this building. Worked at a company called Bayan that was right at the front here. I used to have an office view of seeing the trains when I worked. It was a pretty cool position, and this is that industry in Niagara Falls. Used to be called Lubrizol. I don't know what it's called now, but I can't remember. But there's a tank industry that they'll switch. But yeah, I used to see a few. This was back in the day. I used to see more than, I could see up to 6 trains in a typical 9 to 5 day. So it's kind of fun. But anyways, so yeah, that's Niagara. Just to finish off with the whole ATCS thing, or not ATCS thing, apologies, RTS, all these acronyms. So I look at the 3D side of things. Here, now this is that place in Fort Erie that I was talking about. Here I go again. I start seeing images that I've taken of Niagara. So there's that, like you say, you're looking. I was flying this drone. I think this was the night I flew the drone, and the RCMP was down there watching me doing it. And yeah, this was a nice little shot that I was able to take. He was waiting for his light to come across, so I was waiting for him. But anyways, these type of views is the stuff that inspires me. It's the stuff that I want to go out and watch to rail fin. I want to see. There's something about seeing the actual 3D image. 3D simulators such as Run 8 doesn't even have to be totally detailed, but seeing something has always made it more interesting. And if you can add the operation and proper physics and all that, I mean, it's gold. I ran Run 8 for years. I don't know if I'll ever run Run 8 again. Depends what happens in version 3. Or if I doubt we'll see another update in version 2. I highly doubt that. But for me, I can tell you this much. Number one, I know I can't build assets, but I know I have access to assets. So all I can say is, number one, this has something to do with trains. But the focus isn't as detailed on the trains itself. If you like trains, I think you're gonna like it. Should I say about dispatching or controlling traffic or something like that? I'll just say, yeah. If you like to be part of the operation, you're going to enjoy it, and it is going to be 3D. So Unity's really good at building 3D worlds. Even if I have don't know what the hell I'm doing with Blender, it doesn't take that much to build a scene properly in 3D. and I can still apply the same photorealistic textures that I have taken with the drones as far as the railway track below and everything. You might be saying, okay, well, wait a minute. You're talking about a 3D simulator, but yet you're talking about texture track. Like I said, the focus isn't necessarily entirely on the railroad itself. The focus is on something else. And that's all I'll say. I'll let everybody else do the pieces. I don't want to announce anything. That's the problem, is I get excited about these things and then I want to do it, and then I get all excited and I start announcing things, and then I just, unfortunately, like I said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If I don't have enough motivation behind it, if I don't have enough support, I'm not going to feel, obligated or feel in any way pushing myself forward. But I haven't given up. RTS is still alive. RTS is still a part of me. And I think if I build this simulator, and yeah, it is a simulator, and it is 3D, if I do this correctly, and it's relatively small scale, it's not huge, but I want to get as much 3D detail as I can in a particular area. I can tell you right now that the area that I am looking to model is going to be probably one of the busiest areas in North America. It is very well known, and I'm probably saying too much. And I'll let you guys, you want to guess what's going on. I'm not even going on to Train Sim and announcing it or saying anything. You'll start seeing images start popping up soon. Not soon. I haven't even started it yet. I've been enjoying other things, just taking a break from programming and trying to put less pressure. This is Seaway. But see, I can't do 3D objects like this. This is the other thing. It's just like, okay, now I get down to here. Well, how the hell am I going to do this? The good thing about what I'm about to do is I can do a lot of generic objects. I can do a lot of generic stuff. The focus isn't so much on the 3D scene. It's certainly part of it, but there's a lot more to it. It's actually like a background, but it's still important to have the 3D scene and the proper lighting, the day-night cycle, the operation for sure. This is going to be a prototypical simulation. I can tell you that right now. I talked about doing this about a year or so ago. I really didn't know how the hell I was going to do it. And then I realized this is perfect for the Unity game engine. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I've already seen what some of the imagery looks like and some of the lighting looks like, and what I'm capable of doing, and what I've already done actually. Believe it or not, I've already run some little prototypes, and I already like what I'm looking at. So, just stay tuned. You'll see. Actually, go on to my my sites. I haven't updated it lately. You go on to my. It's in the description of the video. I'm going to end this in a minute here. But I got 3 likes. Thank you guys. So if you go into sites, Google, right now it says Survivor Sean and Son Studios. That might change. I'm playing around with names right now. And my ugly mug or whatever. In here, there is some blogs, stuff to my YouTube and whatever. I haven't updated this in a while. I really don't know who uses it or whatever. But I think one of the last things I was talking about was Railroad Transportation Simulator Project Update, April 10th. So it was talking back then. I mean, we're talking April 10th. It wasn't that long ago. Now, he loves, like I said, he does love the idea. The problem is, I started thinking about the idea more and more, and I thought, well, that's good. So I mean, we've doing rail, and these are just basically blogs of different journeys that I have taken. I'll probably get the effort worth the results. 2021 update when I started, and then yeah, February 6th. I think I started getting the idea, and I don't know what the hell that was then. I don't know what that was about, but I know. Trying to come up to solutions. Oh, that was about roadblocks. Okay, I know I got excited back in April too, but that was a good thing. Uh, so, but yeah, I have a lot of information on there. I haven't posted lately. I'll try to get back into this. I'll hopefully have some images to share. I did have images of RTS as I don't know if I actually put it on there. That certainly isn't it. There was some images, there was some development, then there was some code in RTS. That I'm not deleting that. That's still there. That's still going to be there if I want to go back to it. There's really not that much code. There's more imagery and stuff like that. But like as far as making a scene similar to like this, I don't have to worry about making a scene similar to this, because in this case the scene's a lot more simpler, but it's authentic, and it's authentic enough that I can use enough 3D objects that are available in the public domain that I can use and still be able to sell a game or sell a simulator. The price is not going to be that expensive, but I have a similar program that I already bought years ago, and it was never quite up to the expectations that people had or what it could have been. And I want to add to that. I always look at adding to those things. So yeah, it's going to be a 3D simulator. That's all I can tell you. And I think it's still within my grasp. I don't think it's that difficult. And, well within it. My problem is I can't do the 3D assets. That's okay. I'm not going to let that stop me, because there's enough I can do with the assets, and I can fake it enough that it's going to look good enough. And the main thing is what you're doing and what your main focus is has nothing to do. Your details is going to have nothing to do with the actual scene on the railroad itself. That's a background, but you are going to be dealing with railroads. And if I keep talking, I'm going to give it away. Like I said, think of some of the busiest areas in North America, and and that's the thing. I want it busy. I want it marketable. I want to be something that attracts people. And if I get the momentum, if I get enough things going, and hopefully some programming experience in the Unity engine as well as C#, then it's going to be more power to me. But that's how I have to get momentum going and whatever. Tomorrow, though, I'm going to look at actually going out to Niagara. So last thing I'm going to say about Niagara too is I can try to assist. If you are in the Niagara, I'll send the person an email as well. But I can try to assist. Try to. I mean, I'm not around during week. I work during weekdays, but on weekends, my son and I go out. So we definitely head out, and we usually go out. We usually sleep in, which means we miss the starting of the first wave. But then we tend to be around in the afternoon and try to chase things around. So there's areas you just have to know where to go and what's happening, and kind of get an idea from there. Anyways, that's all for now. I'll end it for now, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Take care.